Hey there, this is Danny from Insane in the Brine. Check us out at insaneinthebrine.com, B-R-I-N-E, also on Facebook and Instagram at Insane in the Brine, and here on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos, especially videos and tutorials dealing with fermented products. This is a fermented item because we are culturing this drink with gingerbug, which is an active yeast culture that you can make yourself at home just using water, sugar, and ginger. And if you want to learn how to make that, you can just go to my website and look up, gingerbug and how to make a gingerbug, and you will find very detailed instructions there. And hopefully one of these days soon I'll put up a video here of that as well. I'm sure there's others out there on YouTube. Unfortunately, they're not mine. But today I'm going to be showing you, once you have that culture, or really you could use another culture. I mean, if you have kombucha tea or water kefir grains, a 1/4 cup of almost any of these cultures, which does the trick as far as getting a nice fizzy soda. But it seemed to be a good match to use the gingerbug culture, and so that's what I've done here today. And if you don't have any of those cultures, I mean, another easy alternative is just to use like a wine or champagne yeast and use about a half a teaspoon of the yeast and just directly put it into the liquid, which we're going to end up putting into a liter flip top bottle, a Grolsch style bottle that you can seal. And that's going to sit at room temperature for about 3 days to get nice and carbonated. And then a good idea is to put that overnight in the refrigerator to let the drink condition, and it will carbonate a little further. And plus it's just nice to have it cold. So let's start from the top with the recipe. So this particular recipe was about 3 1/4 cups of pure grapefruit juice that I juiced myself, but you could just buy grapefruit juice from the store and use that. The more natural, like if it's organic or there's no additives, the better. And you will get a good result out of it. But of course, if you can juice your own grapefruits, that's going to be the most just fresh and healthy and delicious way you can make it. And then of course you'll want to filter that. I think usually the grapefruit juice is in the store already filtered for you. But if it's any of the kind of pulpy style, then you want to put that through either like a fine mesh strainer a few times, or a coffee filter is a really good option, or like a nut milk bag or cheese straining bag, any of those things, which I've shown here that I've done that, and I've done that several times. And that's pretty common for me for any of these sodas if I'm using fresh juice, is to make sure I just get rid of any fine particles or debris. And if some of it makes its way into the soda, that's fine too, but just the more pure and filtered it is, I think the nicer the outcome. So we've got 3 1/4 cups of that grapefruit juice, and then 1 cup of water, which I brought to a high heat to dissolve 1/3 cup of sugar in it. And once I turned off the heat from that, then I immediately put in some grapefruit zest and some chopped up mint. And that way, you don't want to put it in when the water's real hot, because that can sort of destroy some of the more subtle and delicate flavors in those items. But you put it in when the water's warm, and it really will like transfer the flavor of those things and give a nice more depth of flavor to your final drink. So again, I'm going to strain those things from the water, that sweetened water. It's kind of like a wort, you could call it, like you would make in winemaking. We're going to combine that with the grapefruit juice, and that's going to go into our liter bottle. But before we do any of that, we're going to want to put in our culture. In this case, I said it was the gingerbug culture, and you just need a little bit of that. So I strain out my gingerbug culture. That's a liquid, and I'm going to put in the 1/4 cup of that into my bottle. Then I can go ahead and add in my filtered grapefruit juice. And then once I have my flavored sweetened water, I mentioned it was just 1 cup of that got kind of flavored with the grapefruit zest and the mint leaves. Strain that out and put it in, but just make sure at that point it's like room temperature, because the yeast in the culture can be a little sensitive to temperature. It likes warmth. It just doesn't do well when you don't want to burn it or put anything too hot in there. Combine all of that in the jar. You can even not shake it, but kind of turn it upside down everything, evenly distributed, and then just seal the flip top and sit it on the counter for, usually it's like 3 days. If you're in a colder environment, it could take a little longer, or if it's quite warm, like if it's in the summer, then that could make it as short as 2 days or 2.5. And the more experience you have with that, I think just you'll be able to read it better. But as a good rule of thumb, it's just, it's 3 days. For me, it's often right on the nose at 3 days. And, keep an eye on that. If you're nervous at all, I've never had a bottle explode on me. You want to buy the Grolsch style bottles that are meant for doing this. But if you're nervous about it overly carbonating and exploding on you, you can always wrap these things up, put it in a box in your garage or something like that. But if it's a real cold time of year, like in the winter, that can stall things or make it more challenging. And I say just if you have a small space heater, you can blow that air at it. Wait till like the second or third day, and if you don't see anything happening, that's a good point at which to start trying to do that, get things warmed up, or put it on a heating pad on a low setting for a couple hours. And then you start to notice things start to take off, and it'll be ready, in short order once you start to see the carbonation happening in the bottle. Once you're feeling like you've got a decent level of carbonation, then I say just put it in your fridge and let it stay there till the next day. And then you're ready to give it a shot. And one last bit of advice I would give there is sometimes they can really be very carbonated, and just popping that thing open, all of a sudden you get a geyser of it shoot out. And a lot of people feel like that's just part of the game. But actually, if you keep your hand firmly pressed down on the cap while you unlatch it, then your hand can sort of act as the latch. And if you notice things are going to be flying out, just close it back up. And that could take you a few times doing that until finally, there's not that much pressure where it's not going to overflow when you open that thing. And to me, if that's happening, that's a good sign, because it's going to be a really fizzy, nice, bubbly drink. And once you get that to mellow out, it's not going to ever really get back to that point again, especially once you've poured some out of there and you have more air up in your bottle. All right, enjoy. This is my taste sampling right here. So I've had a chance to have this. I really love it. I've made this before with basil instead of mint. Also really good. This was a mix of mint actually and lemon balm, which is in the mint family, but so delicious. It's really crisp, refreshing. I'm going to drink this all summer. I just know it. And as a mixer for a cocktail, throw some vodka in there. No doubt that's good too. So I'm going to enjoy this. I hope you all enjoy it too. Let me know.